Hey guys, so as you probably already know, Microsoft officially announced the pricing for the Surface Duo. Before I get into my thoughts on the Surface, I'd really appreciate if you guys would subscribe to the channel. Seriously, it means a lot to me and it will help me continue making these videos. For those of you who don't know, the Surface Duo is the first device from Microsoft that's actually running on Android, and it has two displays. So the Duo is going to be released in September and it's already available for pre-order at a price of $1,400 US. I've been looking at a lot of videos online and reading different opinions to see what the general consensus on this device is. And in my opinion, after watching the Microsoft presentation, which was released a few days ago, my opinion of this device has changed. I'm now a lot more excited about the future of this category. So let's quickly talk about the specs of this device. For a start, the two displays are actually on the inside of the device, so it's a bit like a book that you open up. The combined screen size of both of these two screens is 8.1 inches, and it's an OLED panel with a resolution of 2700 by 1800. The screen has an aspect ratio of 3:2, which is unconventional for this sort of device, but it's carried over from the Microsoft Surface laptop and Surface Book line, which in my opinion, based on my experience, is ideal for web browsing and productivity. Individually though, each display has a size of 5.6 inches with an aspect ratio of 4:3. There is no screen on the outside of this device, so when the device is folded, you have to unlock it in order to see any notifications or anything on the displays. When it comes to internals, the device is running on the Snapdragon 855, which is last year's flagship processor. It has 6 GB of RAM and a base storage size of 128 GB. It also has only a single camera with a resolution of 11 megapixels only, and you'll understand why when you look at how thin this device is. So each individual side of this folding phone has a thickness of only 4.8 millimeters. That's honestly very impressive. When the device is closed, it's only 9.9 millimeters. That's almost identical to what you find on a regular smartphone. But unfortunately, due to how thin it is, Microsoft could only fit a 3577 milliamp battery. So that remains a bit of a concern for me if I was to think about buying this device. The Duo also lacks certain basics such as NFC and wireless charging. These are things that you expect on a flagship device, but unfortunately they're missing. So since it costs $1,400 and the specs on paper seem a bit underwhelming, why am I so excited? The truth is, this device is all about the software and productivity. And based on what I've seen from Microsoft's own introduction and presentation videos, I am very excited about what this thing can do. I can totally see myself using it, especially that it supports stylus, and writing notes on one display and then reading things on the other, or reading a book and listening to music, or watching a video and taking notes. And the scenarios of this are pretty much endless, and the software is fully optimized to make full use of multitasking. You might think to yourself that most of the devices these days with big displays support multitasking where you can open two things at the same time, but it's absolutely different. Just think about how many times you've actually used that feature on your modern smartphone. For me personally, I almost never use it because both of the windows are quite small. They're really tiny, very uncomfortable if I'm trying to multitask properly. But here, Microsoft is trying to create a new category of devices. A device, a smartphone that can fit in your pocket that is totally aimed at productivity. And yes, it's not perfect. There are a lot of flaws, especially when it comes to the specs. And you might also complain about the big bezels, which make it look a bit outdated, I would say. But as an overall package, I'm very excited about the future of this device. I can't wait to see what version 2 and version 3 will look like, and how they'll be able to minimize these compromises in order to create a device that I would personally love to own. If you're still not convinced, you should definitely check out the videos released by Microsoft. Just look at how smooth the transitions are between using one display and then turning things over to the other display, and how easy it is to tag two applications to open at the same time. The software implementation alone is a lot more advanced than what LG has already come up with the LG G8X. And all things considered, even with its compromises, it slots in nicely between the Galaxy Fold 2, which has all the latest and greatest specs with a foldable display, and the LG G8X, which is aimed more at regular users. I really applaud Microsoft for trying something new here. I've also seen a lot of people complain that this seems like a stopgap device until we get very reliable foldable screens. And you might be right, but it's all about how well Microsoft can implement this software and then adapt it to that concept later on. They already have a huge advantage when it comes to the software and how their own applications integrate and work on the Surface Duo. I have to stress this once again, this is not a device aimed at regular consumers. If you're the type of person who would go into a shop and just look at the specs and determine if this phone is good enough for you, then you're not really the target audience for this device. However, if you have a productivity first mindset, I think this is probably the best device I've ever seen when it comes to that implementation. Now, if only Microsoft could iron out these kinks, and I think they'll definitely have a winner on their hand. Based on their history with the existing Surface devices of laptops and Pro and Book, I'm quite confident that they'll definitely keep on perfecting this form factor, even if Gen 1 won't sell very well. Now let's move on to some other exciting news. HMD has officially announced that they've acquired funding of $230 million US. Other than the fact that this means that they'll be able to produce Nokia phones for a longer period of time, the biggest investors are actually Google, Nokia itself, and Qualcomm. So what is going on here, and why are these big companies investing in HMD Global? Could this be the beginning of trying to build a mobile phone juggernaut based in Europe now that there are tensions with Huawei in the US? I don't know, but what I can say for sure is that this is definitely excellent news for us fans. If you were to look at their sales results in 2019 and so far in 2020, things haven't looked exactly great. I've already discussed what I think HMD should do going forward with the Nokia brand. You can check out the video, I'm gonna be posting it in the link above. Anyways, to quickly sum it up, they definitely need to improve the focus on imaging, and they definitely need to bring more high-end devices into the market. They also need to make their mid-range devices more competitive, and I can see them focusing now on the whole 5G trend and trying to build the best 5G devices on all price points. For Google, I can see them investing in HMD Global because they're their biggest partner when it comes to using Android One. As for Nokia itself, I'm hoping this means there will be better quality control at the devices that HMD is allowed to produce. I'm still a bit confused as to why Qualcomm is involved in this, but I'm also hoping it would mean that Qualcomm will be able to provide the latest chipsets so that Nokia and HMD Global can use them on their phones. So yeah, excellent news for the brand, and I hope we will be able to see the fruits of this very soon. Anyways, these are the two topics I wanted to discuss with you and share my opinions on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know this is a bit of a different format, but I wanted to sort of talk to you, and let's try and have a discussion on this in the comments down below. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.